Site 12 is loosely defined and quite large. I live in Site 12.
Okay, so essentially we are walking away from the burn pit that was in Site 12.
Right.
And now we're walking through Site
So
12.
in 2007, this area was actually blocked off. There were fences from that pole, from that white pole back there in the back, that blocked off 1207 Bayside Drive.
Are you talking about the pole? It looks
The
like
end
it
of the
has a
building.
birdhouse on top of it?
Yes. From that area to the corner of the building right behind you,
Let me go here.
in 2007 was blocked off for remediation.
From that pole to this building was blocked off for remediation.
Right. It was classified as a radiologically impacted site. And so from here back, from 1207 Bayside Drive,
Which is, let me
This
get
building.
that right in front of you. It's right by Catherine's hand. So we're at 1207, from 1207 Bayside Drive to
here comes the remediation people
CBI.
once again.
And they seem to be doing a slow cruise on a regular basis through this area. Why do you think so, Katharine?
Well, at first I thought it was so she could tell them when we're home. But that's my suspicion. That's, again, not based on anything I know for sure.
Who's she?
One of their employees. She could tell the remediators when to come and get the things that they identified, like they did in front of my house in January. They didn't announce it. They didn't let me know. I happened to be home, and that's how I found out that's what was happening. I mean, I walked out the door with a guest, and there they were doing it. So it could be true, but I was jokingly saying she's strolling to see who's home so that they can go and get the commodities from the front of people's houses.
You mean when they're not there?
Yeah, I'm kidding,
You're
but
speculating, but this is the level of trust that we
Right.
have of these people,
Right.
which is reasonable under the
I
circumstances.
mean, that's what they did to me, right?
And so we are strolling through area 12 now.
Right. The fencing ended at 1222. It swooped around to the final building over there on the end.
Okay.
Okay.
A final building, tell me which one it is. I'm zooming in on it.
I believe that's 1212, but I need to double check because I
Okay, it's a building in that direction.
1211
Okay.
Bayside Drive. So these buildings, they were digging in the back of the buildings. So we're going to walk back there.
Okay, all right.
But I want to tell you
Right.
the importance of what I'm trying to say. That building on 1205 Bayside Drive recently has become part of the group of 24 units or 24 buildings that are being told they have to move, but not being told specifically that it has to do with remediation. They keep saying it's egress. But then in other cases, they're saying in the front on Gateview Avenue that there's arsenic plume underneath the building. So we don't know, since this was a hugely impacted site, as it turns out, it was right next to a building where people lived in. Again, we have arbitrary lines drawn, so we're not really clear
Yep.
on who's living on what and for how long. Those people are now being asked to move. So it's just a matter of time when you get to my home because you found a newly impacted site. And they use impacted as in, oh, it's just a term that we use. Well, impacted to me, if you bump into me, I'm impacted.
Right.
You've affected me.
Right.
So just the definition of the word is appropriate because we are being affected. We're impacted daily.
Now, what kind of plume is this?
An arsenic plume?
A plume is a feather shape. It's like smoke coming out of a smokestack and dispersing into the air. But it basically is tubular. It comes out of the top of something. And why would there be an arsenic plume under the ground?
It's the result of decay of radioactivity. So it,
It means underneath the ground there is radioactivity that is decaying in a definable shape, a plume.
Right, and toxins, so those are interacting and reacting underneath the ground, and so that's how the arsenic is being released in that way. but it's not coming out of the ground, it's underneath, as far as I know.
If it's up in a plume, it's moving. It is moving.
Right.
And plume itself suggests movement.
Right. So the concern there is seismically unstable landfill, 65 to 70-year-old pipes throughout this island. Are they cracked? Do they have integrity? Can they be affected even faster if there is any action going on with the ground geologically? And if that's the case and that is present, then have you not already put people in harm's way? And since you know this, you have an obligation to make sure that that's not a possible hazard. If you can't at least say that it's not a hazard environmentally, you at least owe it to reduce any risk that you're aware of to human beings. And since you know all of this exists and you weren't telling us, we can't be held responsible to make these decisions for ourselves.
Without information.
Uneducated at that point. I'm not saying as in degree uneducated. I'm saying I moved here. I didn't know. It was your obligation to make sure that I knew. Complete. Not half, not, oh, but it's no problem. When I do find out, do you not think that the ire that will come out of me at that point will be more than you should want to handle? Especially when you've harmed my children. And again, even if a disease is not evident, it does not mean that that won't initiate something in their cellular structure that they'll pay for later. And those children came here trusting me. I came here trusting them. I can't blame them for my decision according to my children, because to them, I'm the one who should know this.
According to your children.
Right, to my children. In my eyes, I'm mad because if you're sworn to protect, we pay you taxes to protect us. Damn it all. Why in the hell are you not out here protecting me? And then try to sell me that bill of goods about, oh, we need to go to other countries and protect our people. Why don't you start here in your backyard that you created? You owe that much to me. If you don't feel you owe it to me, you damn well owe it to my children. Sorry, I'm getting angry.
No, Katharine, your anger is reasonable. It's reasonable.
So angry.
It's sane under these circumstances to be really angry.
And not only, okay, so we can go into the bigger, huger picture of radiation, the effects of it. We could go into the toxic contamination underneath the ground, and we're including dioxin, PCBs, VOHs, it's just, there's almost 30 that they'll admit to. Again, I don't trust them, so no, I don't think that's it. There's 14 radionuclides, but if you look around, this is how high our wind is. These shingles used to be
Wait, hold up.
on top of our buildings.
The wind is high in the bay.
These have asbestos in them,
Okay. You can see the asbestos,
okay?
practically.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this has now become friable,
Meaning it's breaking up into little fragments.
coming into the air. Our children, our dogs, people are walking on this. I'm touching it.
Yeah.
And it's all over the back. It's all over here.
Do you see all the shingles everywhere? There are
It's
little
just-
pieces of it. Here, there's some
There's
more.
little, there's big, there's two different colors. We have an assortment of asbestosized material.
And the asbestos down below my feet, this is not the radiation emitting stuff. Or maybe it did suck in some of that because the
Because it's
radiation
been here.
will soak into things. Radiation will go into these buildings. So the radiation is in the air and it's in the water over there in the bay. It's in the groundwater here. It's in the ground. It's in the buildings. And they admit this.
Yeah. And this used to
Everything.
be trenched because this was all, including the perimeter path, was all blocked off in 2007. And this happens to be the site where that initiated an article from two highly respected journalists.